Thank you, Sandra, for your wonderful welcome to this cathedral. I walked in and looked up, and I think it's worth dwelling on the trees just for a second. One of the things about being a BC Liberal, which as leader I've come to appreciate, is that the whole party out here is the environmental conscience of the Liberal Party of Canada. And you're looking at the person who embodied the environmental conscience of the Liberal Party of Canada, David Anderson.
Here, here. Here, here.
Fitting to stand under this stupendous canopy and think as Liberals of our duty to be stewards, our duties to be custodians, our duties. The biggest and most enduring duty we have in politics is to hand over these treasures to our children and grandchildren, to the next generation. Part of being a steward here is to want to make sure that this beauty, this delight, this also infinitely fragile environment is handed on as a trust, a sacred trust to our children and grandchildren. I start with that partly because I'm in David and Sandra's backyard and these trees are so beautiful, but also partly because of what we did today.
Yes, yes.
We reaffirmed one of the heritages of our party of which we are most proud. Pierre Trudeau's ban on tanker traffic in the northern coast of British Columbia. We will legislate that as a permanent ban. That was number one. We want to build on David's work and expand the number of marine protected areas and establish them as a network on the northwest coast and on the Atlantic and also in the Arctic. We want to make absolutely sure that the Arctic is protected. There'll be no drilling, no exploration up there, because we cannot, as a country, undertake Arctic oil extraction at the present time. It's just too dangerous. The preponderance of risk is just too high. This is something that requires us to take strong measures in Canadian waters, but also work with our international partners, because, as you know, spills don't care about sovereignty. They don't care about borders. And something going wrong in the U.S. side of the Beaufort Sea could poison that heritage that we want to hand on to our children and grandchildren. And we are facing a government, and we've done this in the House of Commons now for about 3 months, that has no spill plan whatever, has no plan to protect our coasts from the dangers of grounded tankers, offshore drilling that goes wrong. And so we've taken a stand today that gives us, I think, what can be properly described as a national oceans policy. And so it was a good day to be a Liberal, and it's a great day and a great evening to be in this house with you. I went with Keith to Sault First Nation, and it's the 21st of June, it's National Aboriginal Day. And we went to look at the biggest array of solar panels anywhere in British Columbia, possibly anywhere in Canada, created by an imaginative First Nation leadership that understands its obligations to be stewards of land that they have held for thousands of years. So it was a day in which, as a leader of this party, I felt a very deep and profound connection with the conscience of this party on matters of environmental stewardship, both from our First Nations brothers and sisters and from you, from the caucus, from the parliamentary leadership, and from the leaders who've led us in the past. And it allows me to say what I said in Vancouver a couple of days ago, which is this sense of responsible stewardship is at the core of our vision of government. We're faced with an ideology on the other side which thinks that government is almost always a bad thing, and about the only thing you can promise the people of Canada is to cut their taxes. And we actually believe something profoundly different. We believe in government as stewardship. The market can't protect this Pacific Northwest coast. It can't protect the Arctic. It can't protect the fishing ground. You have to have a compassionate and far-sighted government prepared to do that. You can't have a government that tells you the only thing that you need to do is cutting taxes. Let me tell you a little story about Stephen Harper that is emblematic of something we have to fight here. Last summer, he was reported as saying that he never saw a taxi light. Now, everybody in this garden has said and thought that at one time or another, but you're not the Prime Minister of Canada. I thought to myself when he said that, who does he think pays his salary, for one thing? But I'll tell you where I was when I heard that story. Susanna and I, and Susanna unfortunately can't be here because she's ill, but she's in Victoria, she's lying down. She wishes she could be with you. But Susanna and I, when we heard that story from the Prime Minister, happened to be in a hospital in Cape Breton. In the hospital in Cape Breton, we were in the premature baby unit. And we met the family that was looking after baby Bailey. Baby Bailey came into that preemie unit this big. This big. And baby Bailey was coming out of the preemie unit that big, fat and healthy, and due to have a long and happy life. Moral of the story, that's what your taxes pay for. That's the kind of country we are. So baby Bailey gets a life, right? It's so obvious when you think about it. It's so at the core of what we believe as liberals, that when a family comes through that experience, we stand together and provide the public institutions that allow that child to have a life, just as we protect the ocean.